Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Monday. Brandy here from Artisan Bee Boutique. Today I have for you a peek at my newest journal. This one is a little upcycled journal that I made from, the covers are made from a insurance company, State Farm envelope that I covered and basically just turned into, instead of trash, now it has become treasure. So I turned it into a fun cover that's very soft and flexible. I covered it with some coffee stained paper and some other different like collage type papers with kind of a vintage French feel to them. This one is about 5.5 by 5.5. So it's a nice square shape. Here's a good look at the kind of all around. If you stand it up, it will stand on its own. If you want to display it on a, shelf or a mantle. That's the side view. This one's very lightweight, bottom. And this beautiful spine I covered with some lace trim that I got from, well, it's not really lace. I'm not really sure what you call this. I'm not much of a sewer, but my stepmom, she is the best. She provides me with some scraps and just different things that she's not using, and she saves these fun things for me. So this made a beautiful binding for this little journal. As you can see, it's very soft covered and flexible. She also gave me this beautiful rose applique that I used on the front here. You can see that. And I titled this one Everyday Words because this is an everyday journal or diary. And then I did a little pink bulb style safety pin accent with a little charm that she also gave me. She gave me a box full of fun goodies that I've been utilizing already. I just got them a couple days ago and I'm already using them up in my journals. That's the back cover. Okay. I did a simple tie closure on this. There's your kind of a better look at that pretty little charm. There's like a little kind of rhinestone in the center there. There's a little tulle behind there and a little cheesecloth to just give it more interest and texture, so you can see the little threads sticking up there. And I did a little printable label right there that you can use to personalize your journal. This is a simple tie closure that I just used some coffee stained fabric that I did. I did a little, I coffee stained it, but I also did a little ink on there so you see the darker spots. It just kind of gives it a little grungy, kind of a grungy appearance. I like that wrinkly, grungy, makes it look a little more vintage. So you've got that. And I just punched holes in the front and back cover and then reinforced them with some coffee stained paper hole reinforcers. And then you just run your tie through the front and the back. So here's what it looks like when you open it up. There's just so much texture. I just love this. This was a good, this was a journal that I kind of used to just make a fun, scrappy junk journal. I kind of like that. That's how I don't know, that's how I describe it. I call it scrappy because it's kind of a mixture of just a bunch of fun different papers, all different sizes. I love it when you just kind of take, I choose the papers, but I like to kind of alter the way they sit inside the journal so that they're not all the same, different sizes, different lengths. Some are torn, some are cut. Some are just as they were when I put them in. So there's just a lot of differences here in texture and just the edges and the way that looks. And I love that. I love that look. So let's take a look at the inside here. The inside, so I'm going to take these out so you can see. Again, this was a State Farm insurance bill envelope, or insurance, not the bill, but like the big ones that you get with the policy information in them and the window. So again, I took it and I covered it with some coffee stained paper, folded it up You know, I left room for pockets in here, and then I kind of reinforced the edges with some washi tape. I believe that's Tim Holtz. That one I was part of a pack I got somewhere, I don't remember honestly, and just did some little kind of vintage images to that one kind of goes with this here. This paper I think I got on Amazon in a pack, that French vintage kind of French label. So you can hear that crackly. I love that sound. It's flexible. You don't have to worry about, you know, like bending it or whatever, but it's still sturdy. I lined, again, all the edges are lined with washi, so it kind of finishes the edge. And then little word sticker. This is a Tim Holtz. It was wishful thinking. And then for the first pocket here, I've just got a little tag that's kind of like a, you know, if you're mailing, like a shipping tag, but it's got a little glitter to it. I don't know if you can see that in the video there. It's got a little shine and glitter, and I inked the edges. Back is blank for you to do what you want with. And then these are some of my magazine ephemera tags that I make. Both backed so that you can write on them. This one has coffee dye. This one was a manila file folder. So this one obviously is a little more flexible and thin, and this one's a little sturdier. You can use the backs for photos, journaling, whatever you like. And then they just have little pulls, cheesecloth, and some tulle there. And so throughout the pages are just a mix of all kinds of fun stuff. Let me zoom in just a little bit there. Okay, so we have some game sheets. I like the crossword puzzles and things like that. And I just like that that says inspiration on it. And I have bits and pieces of different vintage books. Just a nice fun mixture in this journal. This is scrapbook paper cardstock with some Tim Holtz tags on both sides and a little washi. Note paper, coffee stained. Oh, and I forgot to say this is also a sewn binding chain stitch single signature. I love these little pieces that I get from some of the antique shops, or not antique shops, but it's like the brochures, the guides that you get that tell you where all the antique shops are. And I live in Central Florida, so this one had just like all the different ones throughout, you know, like the area that we live in. And a lot of them just kind of have like things about vintage and flea markets and antiques and things on them. So that's always a fun addition, where it says antique shops and things like that. This little page here was from a mini book from the 1970s about antiques, like an antique guide collector series. This was from 1972, I believe. That was the year I was born. That was a good year, or at least I think so. And then here I just did an envelope, and this was a magazine ephemera piece that I made, and I just kind of did a brad there so that you can turn it so it's more interactive. And of course, if you wanted to move that, it's removable. You can see inside the envelope, and you can tuck things inside here. And here is a little piece of book page. I was gifted some vintage children's books from one of my husband's clients, and they're just such a blessing. She gave me these 3 huge hardcover children's books with some amazing images in them, and you know, old what do you call them? Not fairy tales, nursery rhymes, things like that. So I didn't attach this all the way, so you can use that as a tuck. This was a vintage envelope, probably from the 80s or so, or the 90s maybe, that was in the stuff that my stepmom gifted me. And I just made a little tuck out of this little coloring book image here. And again, that's the back of the envelope, and here it's open, so you can use that to store things in. And then some writing paper. I try to always provide ample writing space in all my journals so that you have plenty of room for your journaling, and then just other fun mix of things that you can decorate and make it your own. I wanted you to see kind of like what that stitching looks like. You can't see the stitches here, but if you look closely at where the pages are connected, these are a 1/2 inch like space between each stitch, so it's a chain stitch and it's a very sturdy binding. So it's a lot, to me it seems to be, I love all the methods, I do all the different ways, but this one seems to be a very sturdy method of binding that kind of just holds all the pages nice and secure. There is no wobble whatsoever, there's no like pull, like everything just feels super secure, like if you purchase the book from a, you know, bookmaker, like a, you know, I think you get my idea. These are just, this was a page from a like a family fun outdoorsy kind of book that I had, and some more of that children's book there. That's the back of that. This was from a Nashville map that I had from when we went to Nashville. Little road guide there, and some more coffee dyed paper, and she's a printable. And then this was a beautiful magazine image page that I folded, and you can you can make a tuck out of that if you'd like to. I did not glue it, but you could glue it and make a tuck spot or a pocket out of this. And then this was more of that other book that I was saying about the family fun. Throughout you'll see some of my distressed paper clips that I made, and then more of the coffee stained ties or pulls on those. And here I just put some more tickets. This is some antique hymnal pages that came out of some books I found at a antique store. I was able to purchase a bunch of these, and some of them are, the dates were like 1930s, 1940s. Beautiful paper. Here's another magazine ephemera tag that I made, clipped in with the distressed clip. And just some more loose pieces. I like to have loose pieces in there for the receiver of the journal to be able to decorate and do what they want with it. And this was a magazine ephemera there. This was from a farmer's almanac that my dad saved for me. And then we've got a little like chipboard bird here, and she's real pretty. It says adorns a sky of blue. And then here I just did a little tuck spot with one of my magazine ephemera with a little piece of vintage music paper tucked inside. Lots of writing paper here. This is the center, and you can see really well here that stitching, nice and sturdy. I picked blue because there's some blue in the cover. I just wanted to pick a color that would kind of accent, just bring out something in the cover. I always like to use that cover as a guide for, you know, what thread I use when I bind. If you're going to see the thread, I want it to have, you know, some kind of a meaning in the color. And the second half of the book, we're going to have, there's some different things in here, but the pages themselves are just the other half of what you've already seen. And I just made a little tuck spot here and another removable tag here for you to journal on. Again, magazine ephemera. Coloring book page. This was from a vintage, I think Woman's Day, or this one's 1967. Little cream cheese ball recipe. Cream cheese balls. There's some fabric washi there. A little tuck spot I made from a coloring book page, and then a removable list. The whole paper's in there. I just folded it so it would fit. That's the Ray Dunn notepads that I have. And then here, this is also made from a magazine. I just made a little pocket out of that, and another pocket or another tag for you to journal on. Coffee dyed back. Coloring book page, that's just clipped in. Little clipped in tag. And it's just the other half of our little girl printable there that you can write in there, fold it up. And you'll see some little word stickers, these little Tim Holtz words and phrases. You'll see some of those in here. There's more of that Nashville map. And the vintage antique book pages. I keep saying vintage, but really antique. I mean, these are from the 1950s, 1949, I think, actually, these books. So they really are antiques at this point, I believe. Vintage book page, just a fun little picture in there. And again, a lot of these pages will be a nice starting point for you to collage on, or do however you would like to utilize those, or even just put your favorite pictures on there. And then this was the other half of that envelope, and I made a little tuck from a magazine image. I backed it with a little cardstock so it's sturdy. You can see it doesn't like bend or anything. This was just from the Tim Holtz tag book. And there's a little washi on there. That was the other part of that kind of vintagey envelope that was in there. I think that's, like I said, from either the 80s or the 90s. Probably. No guarantee. And then just another little clip-in coloring book page image, and some more. Oh, this was a junk mail envelope that I just used as part of for a page, but also I tucked a nice tag on the inside there for you to journal on or use for a photo. And then here we've got a nice little fussy cut bird cardstock little bird tag there. That's the other half of that antique collectible book page. And the antique brochure, the antique guide, antique store guide, I guess you would call that. This actually, I'm sorry, this one wasn't for, I must have picked this up when I was in Tennessee, because this one talks about Knoxville and that. So this was one I got when we were in Tennessee. Yeah, Cleveland, Tennessee. That one says Cleveland. Yeah, so I was wrong about where I got that from, but I also get those from around here too. Okay. So as you can see, it's got all kinds of places to write in here, and just places to make, art and add your own special touches to it. Some more fabric washi there. This says "Deep in My Soul." And then another little journal card from the magazine ephemera with a blank back that you can write on. Another one there. I just love, if you look at this before we get to the end there, just the variation in all the different page sizes and textures from the torn edges and things like that. I just love how all of this comes together, and it just looks wonderful. I just love the look and the feel. It's just very interactive. And then coming to the back page, another pocket here on the back, and I made a little tuck out of a piece that I cut out of a magazine that said William Shakespeare, "Light seeking light doth light of flight beguile." I'm actually surprised I was able to say that without messing it up. And then I've tucked another little journal card or tag in here that you can use throughout the journal, and another little Tim Holtz tag, or ticket, not tag. And then in here I have just another fun little kind of advertisement that was in one of the old magazines, the 1960s magazines. I think this one was the same, around the same time, probably like 1967 or so, but it's for men's t-shirts. Open weave beach comber for big men. That would have cost $4.95. And then two more of my handmade tags. And these were the magazine ephemera. If you notice, I don't know if you noticed on some of these, but I did sanding all of the scratchies here, and like kind of like the edging. I did that on purpose. I like that look. I like take the shine down out of magazine pages and stuff. And I like to kind of use that to just give it more of a worn, rustic look. Kind of makes it look a little more shabby. And this one's backed with coffee paper, that one's backed with file folder. So the edges, again, to get back to that, we're just done with like my little Tim Holtz sander distressor that I've had for years, which there it is. In case you've not seen one or don't know what it looks like, it's dirty because I've used it for many, many years. I probably had this for 10 to 15 years, somewhere in there. Don't know if they still have them in the stores or not, but that's what it looks like. Just a little sanding block, and you can do this if you have just a regular sanding block for fine grit paper, but that's how I use that to distress some of the edges and just make them look nice and worn. That's the back page, and that was also a pocket, same way I did the first one. And there we go, that's the back again. I just love how this one came out. Probably one of my favorites for my smaller journals. Just such a fun assortment of papers and goodies in here. This one, if you like it and you want to take a look at the photos and stuff, it will be available today, by the end of the day today, in my Macari shop. I have this one already photographed, so all I have to do is edit my photos and get it listed. So probably by tonight, by this evening, I'll have that listed. And my Macari shop is linked in my on my channel. If you're on your computer, it's in the upper right hand corner, and if you're on the app, I believe it will be below on my channel, like under my introduction description thing. Yeah, if you like this, I would love it if you give it a thumbs up, this video, and if you want to see more from me, because I'm enjoying sharing my creations with you and just doing these little videos and spending this time with you. So if you want to see more, please consider subscribing so that we can get to know each other better, and you can be notified when I post a new video and have new things available. I'm trying to come up with some ideas for some craft along with me things, or little mini tutorials, things like that I can do together with you. But for now, I'm just kind of focused on getting videos done of my current creations, so that you can see what's inside, because where I list them, where I sell them, we're only allowed 12 photos, and I try to cram as much information into those photos as I can without making it too hard to understand what goes where and all that. So these videos make it even easier for somebody who is interested, or maybe is looking for a special gift for somebody, to just be able to really see what's inside the journal and what they're getting. So yeah, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this. I really appreciate each and every one of you coming and just spending a little bit of time with me and checking out my work. And I hope to see you again in my next video. And I hope you have a wonderful day today. Take care now.